Lesson 18. Frankenweenie. Frankenweenie is a stop-motion animated film directed by Tim Burton and released in 2012. It's a black and white horror comedy film that pays homage to the classic horror movies, particularly Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. The film tells the story of a young boy named Victor Frankenstein who is devastated by the death of his beloved dog Sparky. Inspired by his science teacher, Victor decides to bring Sparky back to life using the power of electricity. However, his experiment leads to unintended consequences as other kids in the neighbourhood discover his secret and attempt their own experiments, resulting in monstrous creations. Frankenweenie is a remake of a live-action short film of the same name that Tim Burton made in 1984. The animated version expands on the original story. The film received positive reviews from critics, praising its animation, visual style and heartfelt storytelling. It is also nominated for the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature. Frankenweenie showcases Tim Burton's signature gothic and macabre style, also exploring themes of love, loss and the power of friendship. Frankenweenie explores several themes throughout its story, including love and loss. The film delves into the deep bond between Victor and his dog Sparky, highlighting the love and companionship they share. When Sparky dies, Victor's grief and subsequent attempt to bring him back to life showcase the theme of loss and the lengths they may go to overcome it. Acceptance and individuality. Frankenweenie celebrates the uniqueness of its characters, particularly Victor, who's portrayed as an outsider with a passion for science and unconventional interests. The film emphasises the importance of accepting oneself and others for who they are, even if they don't fit into societal norms. Friendship and loyalty. Victor's friends rally around him and support his experiments, even when they become chaotic and dangerous. The film explores the theme of friendship and loyalty, highlighting the importance of standing by those we care about, even in challenging situations. Science and ethics. The film raises questions about the ethical implications of scientific experimentation. Victor's desire to bring Sparky back to life leads to unintended consequences, and the film prompts viewers to consider the responsibility that comes with scientific discovery and potential consequences of playing with the forces of nature. Overcoming fear. Frankenweenie incorporates elements of horror and fear, but ultimately emphasises the importance of facing and overcoming those fears. The characters confront their fears and learn to embrace their uniqueness, ultimately finding strength and courage. These themes contribute to the overall emotional depth and resonance of the Frankenweenie, making it more than just a quirky animated film and allowing viewers to reflect on deeper aspects of life and relationships. Overall, Frankenweenie is a charming and quirky animated film that combines elements of horror and comedy, offering a unique and heartfelt take on the classic Frankenstein story. Electricity demonstration. Why does it happen? Static electricity. All matter is made up of atoms. These in turn are composed of smaller particles, neutrons, which are neutrally charged, and protons, which are positively charged, make up the nucleus or centre of the atom. And negatively charged particles called electrons form an orbit around this. In a stable atom, the protons and electrons are equal and balanced, so the overall charge is neutral. Have you ever combed your hair really fast in the dark? Especially if you have longer hair and use a plastic comb, you can actually see blue sparks coming off your hair or running through the teeth of the comb. Have you ever run a blown up balloon over your clothes or hair and held it above your head so that your hair floats up to it? These are visual observations of static electricity. It happens when certain materials create the movement or transfer of electrons when they rub together. Some electrons will move from the hair to the comb or balloon, which will then cause it to become negatively charged. Well, balloons are a great material for creating static charge. The experiments demonstrate that the forces created by electrical charges can attract, which means pull together, or repel, which means push away, each other, based on whether the charges are positive or negative. When the balloons are both uncharged, they're considered neutral. They neither attract nor repel each other. When the balloons are rubbed on your hair, they pick up electrons from the friction created, so they both become negatively charged. The result is not permanent, however, because atoms do not like being out of balance. They are unstable in that state and will try to grab back electrons they have lost to rebalance. Sometimes you can feel the electron exchange in the form of a little zap, a static shock. Similar charges repel each other, so when two negatively charged balloons come close to each other, they'll push each other away, and this should be seen in the hanging balloon drifting away from the held balloon. When only one balloon has been charged, the negatively charged balloon will attract the balloon that has no charge because the forces are different and the opposing forces will draw the two balloons together. With the salt and pepper experiment, the negative charge causes the salt and pepper electrons to move to one side, leaving it polarised with a positive and negative end, a bit like in a battery or magnet. Because the pepper flakes are so light, they get caught up in the stronger electron charge and get pulled up the balloon. The salt that is heavier and in slightly more stable crystalline structure gets left behind. The static pull is also the principle on which cling film works. When the thin plastic film is pulled on the roll, the friction created causes the film to have a negative charge. This then clings to the surface of the glass crockery or even to itself.